Adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
When the lies of me spread like wildfire, and I needed your help to stake my innocence, you were all there, lifting my spirit higher. To say I'm thankful is a big understatement. We're a family no matter where we are.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm here with a amazing musician, and we're going to talk about what we have accomplished. So let me welcome to the show, Marko Bojkovic.
Hi, everybody. It's close enough. It's Bojkovic.
I knew it, and I said it right in my head right before I said it, too. But I'm glad you saved me. Because what I would have originally said without any coaching is I would have probably said Bojkovic or something like that.
A lot of people say it like that.
And I think it's the worst thing to butcher somebody's name. So that's why I have two techniques. One is to talk to you before the thing and find out how it is. But if I do it in person at like a festival or a concert, I'll have you introduce yourself. So I'll just introduce the show, and then I hand you the mic, and I'm here with, and then I can't mispronounce the name.
Well, Dean, I'm going to tell you this right now. Nobody feels worse at mispronouncing names than me.
Wow. Well, look at that. See? Probably because you're sensitive to it because of your own name.
A little bit, yeah.
So first I want to start off, where did it all start? Like, when was the first time that you knew this is what you were, that you were a musician, period?
I don't know if this counts, but I think my earliest memory of getting into music was when I was playing Sonic Adventure on the Sega Dreamcast. I remember hearing the songs and all the pinch harmonics that Jun Senoi would make, and I used to mimic them when I was little.
Nice.
But I started playing guitar a couple of years after that, in 2007, and I was forced into doing piano lessons by my parents, as was my sister.
And you probably are happy about it now, but then it was like, why do I have to do this?
Yep. Well, it was more along the lines of, why didn't you force me to start guitar?
Right. So tell me a little bit about this new song, because I love it, because I love the message, okay? Mm-hmm. And I think the message in songs are very important. Some people don't even know the message. Sometimes they may think they know. So I always like to hear it from the artist.
Yeah, so I was in a really dark place last year, a very dark time in my life. I found that I couldn't continue with an amazing group of friends that I made. And that was the most heartbroken I've ever been. I'm sure something like that's ever happened to you, where you had an amazing group of friends, but you couldn't continue with them for whatever reason. Yeah. Has that ever happened to you before, Dean?
Yeah, I think it happens to everybody, you know?
Yeah, it does. And we tried to keep me going with them, but we didn't succeed at that. But what we did succeed with, however, is strengthening our friendship. And that's another success in and of itself. And that's what the song talks about.
Nice. Well, and I think as we get older in life too, we learn better how to manage these things. And, you know, it's funny, when we're young, we think we know it all. And then we get older and we figure out we don't know crap.
So, Dean, we should go back in time and say to your younger self, yo, this is stupid. Don't do it, right?
Exactly. But you know what? I also think of it as, if I didn't do those stupid things, maybe I wouldn't get the things that I got later or understand the thing. I think you need to do stupid things. the people that don't do it when they're younger, I think they tend to do it when they become older.
That's true. They do. That's why when you're young, you always hear people say, make these mistakes now, because then you'll know not to do them again.
No doubt. And sometimes we make them a few more times after that.
Yep.
So but I do dig it, because I think anybody can take their own message from it. And to me, that's the idea of a good song, is that, yes, the artist has their meaning they put to it, but everybody else can put their own meaning to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what this does here. And, it's funny because we're talking on the radio and on podcasts, but I'm also a motivational speaker. So that's why I like the mixture of my two greatest passions: positivity, evaluating what we've accomplished, and music right there.
You are speaking my language.
Well, you even threw in gaming before. So it's like I always say with life, I wish it was like a video game where you could hit the reset button when you screw up a level.
That'd be nice. But, I'm sure there are some mistakes that you're glad you made, right?
Oh, no doubt about it. And I'm glad I had certain experiences that maybe I wouldn't have now. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something we look at too, I mean, it's like there's certain things we do when we're younger that we would never do now, like for the first time or at all, but true. we have the cool stories that we survived from.
Yep.
So tell me how people can check out the new song, how they can connect to you on social media, website, all that good stuff.
Sure. I'm setting up a website right now, but I've got a couple other social media sites active. I have YouTube active. My name on it is just Marko B, because no one wants to try to say my last name.
Including me.
Yeah. Instagram, I do have my full name on there, but with Shred's Guitar at the end. So you can hit me up on that as well. And I'm also on TikTok as Marko B, a guitarist.
Okay, so what's your favorite TikTok that you've done so far?
Favorite TikTok I've done so far. That's hard to say. I like all the TikToks I've done so far. It's hard for me to choose a favorite, but I don't have too many non-musical TikToks, but I think my favorite non-musical one was when I was filming myself in front of the house where the Truman Show was filmed, and I say the famous line.
Nice. So that's kind of like, okay, so I go on tour and I do coverage for music festivals, and one of them that I do is Incarceration, which is at the Shawshank Prison, or what was in the movie, which was it's the Ohio State Reformatory, but it's closed.
Wow.
And it's funny because I love that movie, Shawshank Redemption.
So do I.
Yeah, and my daughter, she would ask me, like every festival I go to, she's like, so are you excited for this festival? I'm like, I don't know if excited's the word, when you're doing it like every week. I love doing it, but I don't know if excited's the word. And then when I got to do Incarceration for the first time, I was on the prison yard of Shawshank Prison. I called her up. I'm like, now I'm excited. I'm on the prison yard of Shawshank. And so, it's pretty funny, like certain things that just stick with you. And then, I did go throughout the prison and, pretended like I was in the movie, doing in different scenes. So
that's awesome.
Right? It's kind of cool. One morning I was outside taking a picture, and some other dude's like, hey, can you take my picture? And it turns out he was, it's funny. It turned out he was one of the bands I was interviewing later in the day. Wow. He's like, look at us. We're fanboying out on Shawshank Prison.
That's amazing.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So, speaking of video games, was that your favorite video game, or do you have a different favorite video game?
You mean Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite of all time.
Nice.
Yeah. Why? Because when you listen to that game's music, you swear that most of a Sonic game's budget goes towards it.
Right. And I think it is key in any video game that has killer music that actually makes sense and matches the game.
Oh yeah. You know, Matt Hafey from Trivium actually said one time, gaming and metal, they go together really well.
Oh, I have 100%. And there was there's a lot of bands out there that, they're gamers. So there's that gamer influence in it anyway, and I mean, honestly, I was a gamer before I was into music. And then I got into music and it just went hand in hand. And it's funny because back in the day, I would blast my music through the guitar amplifier while I was playing the video game.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, my neighbors didn't think it was awesome, but but it was
cool.
Yeah, exactly. So
and
no, not at all. So is there anything else you have coming up on the horizon that you want to tell the listeners about, or anything that we haven't covered so far?
Yeah. On December 20th, which is the same day Sonic Movie 3 comes out, I'm releasing a cover of a Sonic song.
Nice.
Yeah. The song I'm covering is Find Your Flame from the game Sonic Frontiers. Have you played that game, Dean?
That one, I don't think I've played that one.
You got to play it. It's amazing.
I'll
It's basically, it's Sonic meets Breath of the Wild.
Wow. I'll definitely have to check that out. That's cool. And so you're releasing it the same day that the movie's coming out.
That's correct.
That's badass. I love it.
Are you excited for the new Sonic movie?
Oh, absolutely. And there's not a lot of movies I ever get excited to go to a theater for. It has to have to do with video games, music, or superheroes.
Oh, I love superheroes too.
Okay, so are you Marvel or DC?
Marvel. The only DC hero I really got into was Batman.
Okay, so I'm both Marvel and DC. But my favorite superheroes are Batman and Arrow, because neither one of them have any metahuman powers. They're not aliens. They're just people.
Excellent choices.
Right?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's all right. So that was the Bat phone.
Yeah, it was.
So any final words you want to leave our listeners with?
My favorite superheroes are Spider-Man, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and if we can include groups, the Guardians of the Galaxy. Because we're talking about that now, Dean, I gotta let this out. I'm Groot.
You know what's funny about that? It's too bad I'm not wearing the shirt. I have a shirt that has Groot on it that says "I am metal."
I need that shirt.
Yeah, they sell them at a lot of festivals, and I'd always look at it. I'm like, I need that. And I finally bought it. It is pretty badass.
That's awesome.
Right? Mm-hmm. So what did you think of the newest movie with Wolverine and Deadpool?
I loved it. And so
I thought it was pretty cool.
But my dad hated it.
It's interesting. There's been so many mixed things, but I don't know. I'm kind of weird because I don't think there's any of the movies like that I have not liked. There's always these people being critical. I'm like, it's kind of like with music. There's very little music I just don't like. I just think, I have my favorites, obviously, but music is music. That's kind of my viewpoint. And you are a badass shredder. So
thank you.
I want to thank you for this new song and all that you do. And I hope everybody follows you and checks out the new song when it drops, because that'll be cool too. Yep. So thanks a lot for doing that. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thank you, Dean. And you know when the album's coming out, right?
Tell us.
January 24th.
Which what's funny about that? That was my mother's birthday. So I can.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So look at that. All these.
So would you like me to send you a signed copy for your mom as a birthday present?
Well, she's not with us anymore.
Oh,
but
I'm sorry to hear that.
That's all right. I'm 58 years old, so it's kind of normal almost at this point. It's weird, right? It's
Yeah.
I'm like the patriarch of the family, so it's kind of weird to be at the top of the food chain.
Mhm.
You know, you blink and you go from being 20 to top of the food chain. But I would definitely like the new album, and I would like you to send me all the MP3s. I'll put it in the rotation in the station.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. Well, it's been a pleasure. You rock.
Thank you.
And
You rock
thanks
too.
again for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
You got it. Thanks for having me on. I hope we can do this again.
Absolutely.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.